Travis Wayne Goodsell. As we are witnessing the censorship of the press, of late night comedy, of other individuals, the Book of Mormon warns of the dangers of those who seek to censor, ban, silence, destroy the voice or records of the people. Enos chapter 1 verse 14. For at the present our strugglings were in vain in restoring the Lamanites to the true faith. And they swore in their wrath that, if it were possible, they would destroy our records, and us, and also the traditions of our fathers. Wherefore I, knowing that the Lord God was able to preserve our records, I cried unto him continually. For he had said unto me, whatsoever thing you shall ask in faith, believing that you shall receive in the name of Christ, you shall receive. And I had faith, and I did cry unto God that he would preserve the records, and he covenanted with me that he would bring them forth unto the Lamanites after you're destroyed. And then they would burn them. Because then we go to the burning of those records. Where are you? Here we are, Alma. Alma chapter 14. And the Lamanites brought their... let's see. And they brought their wives and children together, and whosoever believed or had been taught to believe in the word of God, they caused that they should be cast into the fire. I'm struggling with the sentence structure usage of the pronoun. That should be the... And the Lamanites brought their wives and children and burned them. That doesn't make sense. Editor! That they should be cast into the fire. And they also brought forth their records, which contain the Holy Scriptures, and cast them into the fire also, that they might be burned and destroyed by the fire. And then Almelech has no faith. How can we let this happen? Can't we just raise our hand and smite them down? Nope, we need it as a testimony. Mormon, chapter 2. And now the city of Jeshon was near the land where Ammoron had deposited the records unto the Lord, that they might not be destroyed. And behold, I had gone according to the word of Ammoron, and taken the plates of Nephi, and did make a record according to the words of Ammoron. And upon the plates of Nephi I did make a full account of all the wickedness and abominations. But upon these plates I did forbear to make a full account of their wickedness and abominations. For behold, a continual scene of wickedness and abominations had been before mine eyes, ever since I have been sufficient to behold the ways of man. So that's similar with Nephi. Nephi gets to the promised land, and then makes the large plates and the small plates. And then Mormon 6. 6. And it came to pass that when we had gathered in all our people into one to the land of Cumorah. There's only one Cumorah, guys. Western New York. Behold, I, Mormon, began to be old, and knowing it to be the last struggle of my people, and having been commanded of the Lord that I should not suffer the records which had been handed down by our fathers, which were sacred, to fall into the hands of the Lamanites, for the Lamanites would destroy them. Therefore I made this record out of the plates of Nephi, and hid up in the hill Cumorah all the records which had been entrusted to me by the hand of the Lord, save it were these few plates which I gave unto my son Moroni. Where are they? Everybody dug up the hill, couldn't find anything. Where'd they go? Where'd they go? Go south. Go south. So, David taught Christofferson, apostle for the Lord Jesus Christ of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, is a part of the Strengthening Church Members Committee. Dallin H. Oaks explained after the firing and excommunication of September 6th, the censorship, banning, and destroying of those who were dealing with the records, explained that local leaders are informed by church headquarters about members who may possibly be violating church standards. Sounds like a Lamanite to me. The church is strengthening the Church Members Committee, pores over newspapers and other publications, and identifies members accused of crimes, preaching false doctrine, criticizing leadership, or other problems. That information is forwarded on to the person's bishop or stake president who is charged with helping them overcome problems and stay active in the church. Sounds like a Lamanite to me. So, in the age of internet technology, there are lots of other sources for them to be searching through to identify. And as you've been following me, you would have heard about my file number with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, 36434. For which it all dealt with me being a translator. We'll bring that up. January 2nd, 1998, I submitted Hebrew Connections, my Paleo-Hebrew research, you dumbass, to Egyptian. I deciphered Paleo-Hebrew script. See, they had no clue what I was doing. No clue. On March 16th, day before my birthday, 1998, they're wondering how Ra connects to the Joseph Smith translation of Genesis 1:1. So they're already seeing what I'm doing. Book of Mormon says it's in the learning of the Jews, pre-Babylonian captivity, Paleo-Hebrew, and in the language of the Egyptians, Hebrew and Egyptian. I had been educated by Walter Emanuel Aufrecht about clues for Paleo-Hebrew script that nobody had deciphered, not even William Foxwell Albright. He was wrong. Nonetheless, you can see, as a Mormon born and raised in the covenant, where I was then going after deciphering the script, going right to find out if Joseph Smith is correct. And it's not the JST, you dumbass, it's the King Follett sermon. Again, they know nothing of the subject matter. And then finally, dun 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 dun, July 9th, 1998. This is all after I had to redo it. When the first abandoned the marriage, stole the kids and the property, and fled the country and destroyed the records. And they say, more on biblical translations. Name of deity. I did it. And they're saying it was before July 9th, 1998, when I figured out how Joseph Smith was correct from the King Follett sermon, having deciphered Paleo-Hebrew. It was actually February 24th, 1997. She then would leave in April, with the help of the church and both of our families. And so then a full retranslated Genesis, December 9th, 1999. See, they've been keeping track, putting it all in the file. And I know about this and obtained it because in 2008, filed a petition for a redress of grievances with the state of Utah concerning the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and their involvement in financially ruining me and helping the ex. And so I was considered a terrorist. This was a weapon of mass destruction, the petition. And I am seeing an exact same pattern match with Tyler Robinson. It's just wild that here at the very end that this all occurs to be brought out in my video content. And so yes, David Todd Christofferson was involved in, I took it down, didn't I? Yeah. Why'd you go over there? Doing so well. In helping me overcome problems and stay active in the church. Bleep you. I showed how the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith are true, and you're helping me, I don't have it memorized, overcome my problems and stay active in the church while you locked me away in a dark site for 6 years of my life, separating and destroying the records again. So yeah, this has been a constant pattern of practice that they've been doing. I would get out in 2014, I would obtain a computer and begin to restore Paleo-Hebrew again, because it's real simple. I don't have to memorize. It's a matching game. I just have to redo it all. That's what pissed me off. Nonetheless. And would go on to get involved in YouTube once in a while, posting a video, because all of this is new for me, being gone for 6 years of my life. And so I'm trying to figure out my movie maker. I'm trying to figure out how to make pictures to use in the videos. And there's this thing called apps. And I'm trying to ask the guy on the phone, am I able to have a downloaded copy and transfer it to an external device? Yeah. cloud. No. I don't want cloud then. So yeah, streaming is a variation of cloud to bypass people's ability to obtain their own copies. So David Todd Christofferson learns that I get out, learns that I'm on YouTube, learns that I'm on Facebook, learns that I would eventually get a website, and again, he's right back to the same old tricks to censor, ban, destroy the records. They will not leave me alone. They are pure evil. How is this a threat, Mormons? How am I the bad guy showing that the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith are true? Mormons have never been able to answer that. Mormons always attack to defend the church. They deny the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith. When you confront them on that, they deny that they deny, and then so inquiring further, they deny. They ignore. They play dumb. They get mean and violent and abusive and criminal because they don't know, like the dumbass who put this in his information in my file. See, this is just the note thing. They have the actual documents along with it. And there's more later on. This is only what they showed that I gave them. They did not show the other stuff that they'd been searching around for me, because they destroyed my comments on the Deseret News articles. They deleted them all in 2008. Censorship and banning of Travis Wayne Goodsell. They put my full name there at the end, where they only did my first and last name for the first three. So, yeah, this is what they're doing, is that they would go to the various sites and obtain a copy. They have the copies of all this. It's not just, oh, they read in the paper and then they disregard the paper. No, they obtain a copy for the files. And so they purchase the Deseret News, the Salt Lake Tribune. And if there's something national involving a Mormon, they buy that so that they can get the article, make a copy of it, and put it in their file. And so all of my Deseret News articles or comments should be in this file also, because that's what they say they do. All of my Facebook posts, they should have a copy of it. All of my website posts, before they shut that down too, they should have a copy of it all. And I was kind of wondering who it was that was doing that, because if it was Russia, that seems kind of weird to go through that approach. But they also were following me back then too. They knew exactly what was going on and were catching on, and all they needed to do was say, Mr. Goodsell, we do not know what the Z is in our Russian script. Will you please explain for us, please? Well, sure. It's the Cairo of Constantine. That's all I had to do. They didn't need to say, give me your Paleo-Hebrew research. Or we will throw you out third-story window, poison you, and crash your plane. None of that's needed. Just ask. Just ask. Real simple. So likewise with YouTube. David Todd Christofferson, as they say they do, in the digital age has a downloader that they download video content. And my content on YouTube is fair use. It's freely available for everybody to see and listen to, and thus have their own copy. There's nothing criminal in any of this. YouTube doesn't cyber terrorize D. Todd Christofferson for trying to download their content of my channel, because there's no crime there. It is fair use access, and they're using it for their own personal use to cyber attack me. I mean, to help me overcome my problems and stay active in the church. So, back when I was in the older singles ward, I home taught a lady who one night asked me, because she wanted to go attend an activity, but there was a show that was going to be on cable that she didn't know if she was allowed to record it and watch it when she got back or another day later. Because back then, cable was like TV, that it's only going to come out at certain times. And so she had a VHS recorder and a VHS tape, but she didn't know if she was legally allowed to download the content. And so I asked her, did you pay for the cable? Yes. Then you can do it. You have paid for it. Because it's not fair use. You know, then you have movies and TV shows about how to steal cable. No, that's illegal. The cable guy's gonna get you. That was a creepy show, Jim Carrey's. Very creepy. I'm not sure. Matthew Broderick and Jim Carrey. It was just too awkward and weird. You know, Jim Carrey's comedy is a little bit too extreme for my taste, but you know, that was above and beyond. That was just creepy. It was like a horror movie rather than a comedy. But no, it's the same thing with anything online. YouTube, for example, now has membership videos where you have to somehow become a member. And that's all crap. I don't fall for that trap. In order to, apparently you should be able to download the content with a downloader. They also have the TV movie YouTube. That's always been a failed project of theirs. Where you should then, after you pay for the service, be allowed to record it. It's for your own filing system. But, again, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints stepped in to cyber terrorize me with any purchased streaming services back in West Valley, so that my recording recorded a black screen. Despite being able to see it, it recorded a black screen. I was being cyber terrorized. That was not supposed to be the case. I had rightfully paid for the content, Amazon specifically. That's why you'll see me converting DVDs. They're not just the new releases. I'm having to go back and repurchase DVD versions of what I streamed on Amazon that I found out after the fact did not record very well. The first attack was a noise in the background and then a shaky video picture. escalated over time. And then came the black screen of death. I was so pissed because that was a Disney streaming service that I had paid for, and Monsters at Work had just come out, as well as the Turner and Hooch TV series. So I was so pissed that I was denied those because of the cyber terrorism that I was getting. All thanks to D. Todd Christofferson, who violated the Constitution and my rights of life, liberty, and property. I had paid for the services. I have a right to obtain my own copy, just like D. Todd Christofferson has the rights to obtain the copies of my video content. He just doesn't have the right to then commit crimes against me for them. And so, fascinating how his mind thinks as a former lawyer and clerk for the Nixon case, that he thinks it's justified to deny other people what he himself is doing legally, but deny other people the same legal right, and then punish them as if they'd committed the crime. You know, like filing a petition for a redress of grievances according to the First Amendment in the Constitution of the United States Bill of Rights, and then saying it's a terrorist threat, and that the petition is a weapon of mass destruction. Exactly. This church is pure evil. And I show you the pictures as I'm getting him better at making pictures. So I made the whole organization of the crime organization of this church, showing you all the structure that it is involved. The boss, the underboss, the lieutenants, the counselors, the fixers, the bagmen, and then the commanders with the soldiers. The crime organization in America. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. To a T. So yeah, they're pissed. And so yes, today, again, I was cyber attacked. Being Saturday. As I was concerned, oh, are they going to get me on Friday? Nope, they waited until today to make sure I couldn't contact the California FBI. So, yeah, I have to constantly protect myself by informing my government of the crimes being committed against me, and our government is not protecting me to keep them from doing this on a repetitious pattern of practice basis. I've got their balls to the wall because I've got the documents, I've got the receipts. And I've been showing you YouTube and Microsoft and Google that are all cyber attacking me. All demanding, extorting me for more money so I can have AI, so that they can escalate the cyber terrorist attacks with AI. Dear God. So yes, this is a big problem. Not just for me, but for the rest of the nation and the world, is that there is a clear attack on truth and historical facts and scientific facts and logical facts that are all being destroyed so that nobody will know the truth. And AI can't tell the truth worth a lick because of the people who programmed it. There was a news article that I saw today about how AI can now decipher cuneiform. Ooh, okay. And then they're trying to explain that, you know, cuneiform is really tough to translate, so AI is really intelligent. Because it requires a very specific person who's an expert on decipherment. I'm busting up going, oh my God. I know exactly what's going on. But apparently the person reporting it thinks that AI is real. So if you remember War Games, Matthew Broderick again, he is shown the first instance of AI playing chess. That it was able to figure out the game and improve itself over time with repetitious play. And AI is dumber than that. Was it Spielberg that did that one? He was talking about an AI in fantasy world. But the people who created AI are deceiving us. AI is only as smart as the program put in it. And as I've gone over with you for the last couple of years, AI is incapable of intelligence. It is incapable of decipherment. It is incapable of discovery. It is incapable of invention. It can only regurgitate. And so for this cuneiform translation that AI is so superior for, no, they got a person who knows the translation of cuneiform, had that information programmed into AI. It should not be called AI, it should be called something else. And so yes, it's then able to go to the other documents, and it's as if that one person whose programming was put into the system is rendering a translation. And so yes, it's able to do it quicker, but that's all it is. It's a regurgitation. So if you get it to try to decipher a document that hasn't been deciphered, or you don't put the programming in it to decipher it, it will fail. It will not be able to do it. Because it was last year, I think, or 2 years ago, when I told you guys about how they were trying to get AI to decipher undeciphered scripts that they have found. And still nothing to this day until today, when, it can decipher cuneiform, which can already be deciphered, which means they got that person's decipherment, English or grammar and vocabulary into the programming to do the job. But AI cannot do what Jean Champollion and I have done. It is incapable of doing that, and that is the big fraud that they're not telling you. So, yeah, it is horrifying that AI instead is being used to promote lies, and specific lies of white supremacist Christian nationalism and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Because it should be able to go over the Book of Mormon and put out what I've been telling you in all my videos. And then you'd be going, oh crap, Travis was right the whole time. It should never tell you that Jesus Christ literally appeared to the Nephites. And yet, I'm willing to bet, haven't been cyber attacked yet for freezing of the camera. Did have to shut it down though when I was going over the YouTube news a couple hours ago. They don't want me on YouTube. You do not have the same rights and privileges as D. Todd Christofferson. And there's money going back and forth between the two, in case you didn't know. Church is a major stock investor, all that stuff. I noticed it's been slow to come up with the can't update Chrome thing lately. Alright. Did the real Jesus Christ appear to the Nephites? Nephi 11. Yes! According to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. See? Code for regurgitation program. The real, in quotes, Jesus Christ appeared to the Nephites in 3rd Nephi 11. So let me go over, or should I? Okay, so did it work? Yeah, okay. Is the Book of Mormon a book of future prophecy? Yes. Uh-oh, it's falling into my trap. Is 3rd Nephi 11 a future prophecy? Let's see, let's be more specific. Is the passage in the Book of Mormon, 3rd Nephi 11, a future prophecy? No! Busted! We can play more with this. Is the death sign in 3rd Nephi 11:2 from Revelation 12:11-17? No! It's a direct reference to the apocalyptic events described in 3rd Nephi chapters 8-10, not the verses from Revelation 12. Oops. See, now, guess where I'm going with this one. Does the Book of Mormon come from the Apostle of the Lamb, John, of the Book of Revelation? No! What? I worded it wrong, I guess. Rather, it references an apostle of the Lamb named John who was foreordained to write the book of Revelation. See, it's regurgitating. If we were to actually go to that, it would say that Nephi is getting the same vision as John the Revelator, and that we, the reader, have to go to the book of Revelation to see the rest of Nephi's vision. Unbleeping believable. So, Book of Revelation 12:11-17, 8 April 2024. No! The Book of Revelation verses 12:11 and 12:17 are not about the total lunar eclipse that occurred on 8 April 2024. Anna Kendrick's boyfriend assassinated Jesus Christ on the back of the flying white horse in the movie Rapture Palooza. It's symbolic rather than a prophecy. What did Joseph Smith say about what the Methodists said concerning revelation and visions? Denying the powers thereof? Exactly. If it were truly AI, as Steven Spielberg put in War Games, it would be able to answer correctly the information that I provided and a whole lot more. 8.9K videos for me over these 8 years. So, finish off with some stuff that's in the news, so that I'll have the morning off. I was going to do a video about how Nelson's authority is invalid. Again, AI should be able to figure this out if you put in the right programming and it was intelligent. Nonetheless, I've already done those pictures for you. Section 107, verses 91 and 92. Ooh, let's do that before we get to the news here. Let's have a little fun with Nelson. In Doctrine and Covenants, 107, 91 to 92, the head of the church has the keys of Moses, yet Russell Marion Nelson only claims the keys of Peter as the head of the church. Is Nelson the false prophet? No! Wow, Doctrine and Covenants 107, 91, 92 mentions the keys of Moses. Russell M. Nelson's claims are not in conflict. Latter-day Saints believe he holds all priesthood keys restored to Joseph Smith. How did he get them? Including those from Moses. So they're saying that the keys of Moses is not for the head of the church. I just don't want to tell you. Does Russell Marion Nelson prophesy of future events? Yes. What? You're going to need to give me an example here. Has provided prophetic statements concerning future events, particularly the second coming of Jesus Christ, and the accelerated pace of God's work in the latter day. No, he's just reading from the other people who are prophesying. Translate Paleo-Hebrew and Egyptian. Russell Marion Nelson is not known for translating Paleo-Hebrew or Egyptian. As the president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, his statements focus on the translation of the Book of Mormon by Joseph Smith. But he won't do it himself. Does Russell Marion Nelson have visions and dreams? Yes, has spoken of receiving revelation through dreams and impressions. No, dreams is different than impressions. He has shared an anecdote about being awakened from sleep with an idea for it. That's not. Mormons are so desperate. Does Russell Marion Nelson predict the future date of the coming of Christ? No, does not predict the specific date. Then he's a false prophet. Real simple. That's revelation. So yeah, you can see how Mormons have tampered with AI and putting in false programming. Real simple. It is not intelligent. How do I get this through to people? And so it's a malware virus. That's why it's causing cyber terrorist attacks. So I'm trying to gather information about the one that attacked the EU airports today. Putin is invading Europe. And so for a cyber attack to hit lots of airports in the EU, as reported today, indicates that it came from Putin. Whether it was an AI attack or it was old versions of malware, virus, ransomware stuff, they're not explaining that part. But most likely it was AI that Cozy Bear is now escalated to. All you had to do was ask. I would have told you. I have been telling you multiple times. You know, when Trump met with Putin, I did the little thing on it. There it is. There it is. Trying to help you. Trying to warn you that the church is going to have you murdered too, Putin. They're going to throw you out the third-story window, poisoned and fallen from an airplane. They're just pretending to think that you have power, to have you think you have power. It's all part of their ruse. It's been their 200-year-old plot. They've been playing this chess game longer than you've been alive, Putin. So, yeah, I meant to get this downloaded for this video. I didn't get to it because I was cyber attacked. So the Great Replacement conspiracy theory is being spread around the internet to the extreme lately, since the assassination of Charlie Kirk by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Nobody wants to listen, nobody's going over the evidence, everybody thinks they know the real cause, and nobody does. Okay, putting it in this file now. So we'll read it off the internet. I'm not going to push my luck. I'll keep the screen open on the other side here. The Great Replacement, French, Grand Remplacement, also known as replacement theory or Great Replacement theory. Well, in order to be a theory, it has to be able to be tested for 3 confirmations to establish fact. If you're just saying something and making a claim, it's not a theory. It's just a claim that is untested and untestable, is a debunked, so it's not a theory then. White nationalist, far-right conspiracy, not a conspiracy theory. You'd said it's debunked. That was very frustrating, taking philosophy of morality and ethics, is that there was a whole long list of people who came up with ideas, all of which were debunked in the class. And yet, they're all claimed to be theories, and they all need a voice. They all need to be validated. No, they got debunked. They're not a theory. Got to get rid of it. We need to find something else. Try the Book of Mormon. It gives it to you. Hey, I published it. I'm first. Nobody cares. Everybody's trying to destroy the records. So, originally espoused by French author René Camus, the original theory states, this is perpetuating misinformation, which is also another way to destroy records. Like the Book of Mormon, calling it Christian about Jesus rather than Jewish, the Jewish Christ. That with the complicity or cooperation of replacist elites, the ethnic French and white European populations at large are being demographically and culturally replaced by non-white peoples. So yes, there's a big concern in Europe right now where everybody's uprising about asylum persons and immigrants. And it looks like he's in the 1900s here from the way he looks in the picture that's colorized. Let's see if we can get a date for him. Born August 10th, 1946, and he's still alive, I guess. 79 years old. And not seeing where he is currently. Influential gay writer? He's a trans lefty terrorist? It's a trap! There was another scholar here in America who talked in his field about sex identity and was fired for it. So yes, coming to a school near you, a ban on sex ed. As no more is it about sperm entering into egg and producing male and female, which sperm and egg is the designation for sperm and female, or sperm and egg, male and female, and thus sexual reproduction. Unbelievable. So anyway, the original theories, non-white peoples, especially from Muslim majority countries. Now, what you were finding out is that Muslims were becoming sleeper cells all around the world, so that when October 7th happened, they would be able to strike and have everybody around the world fulfill the Book of Revelation prophecy of all nations attacking Israel. Through mass migration. Yeah, no, it's not migration. They're claiming that they're victims of sexual and physical abuse of their Islamic religion. And then, after being given asylum by the stupid Westerners, women keep wearing the symbol of their sexual and physically abusive Islamic religion and raise up children in Islam as sleeper cells. And then they struck October 7th. Demographic growth and a drop in the birth rate of white Europeans. Yeah, this was a multi-pronged attack, not just on Europeans, but also here in the United States of America, as Nazis were thinking they're American liberators to pull this stunt. So originally, Americans were having 8 to 15 children. And the reason why is because the health care wasn't the greatest. And so oftentimes families would lose at least one, if not several children over the course of their lives. Real sad, but, 8-cow women, hardy women. And so after World War II, you have women who like being in the workplace. They feel like they're accomplishing stuff. They've got a purpose in life now. They don't need men. So the men come back as veterans, and there are no jobs for them. The women took them all. And they don't want to go back to being a trad wife. But what they did was continue to expand in the United States, and but they were concerned about the baby boom that occurred right after World War II. And so in order to counteract the baby boom, to control the population growth, you get psychologists from Nazi Germany talking about the nuclear family, having to do with the nuclear age of nuclear bombs. And so not only were they poisoning the housewives to prevent the women from having babies and having lots more abortions and getting cancers and dying, and so that way babies are cut off in the population, but also trying to suggest that it's cool and popular to only have 2.5 children. And so all of the commercials were designed specifically to be the power of suggestion, to show how prosperous, happy families have only 2.5 kids. You can decide which half the third one has. And so yes, that became popular, and everybody was easily brainwashed by TV commercials. As the housewife was purchasing all of the poison deadly products and only wanting 2.5 kids, or being forced to only have 2.5 kids because of the poison products that she was purchasing to be a housemaker and cleaner and etc. So yes, microwaves were nuclear. I was working at McDonald's up north with the first, who abandoned me and destroyed the records. McDonald's had newly purchased microwave ovens that were nuclear, and so we were specifically told, you need to wait for a certain period of time before opening. Yeah, and that's special. So yes, that's where all of that comes from. And that's what is not understood by white nationalists, Christian nationalists either, white supremacist Christian nationalists. Even though in America, whites still dominate the populace. It's segregated, as certain locations dominate with other colored, as designated as white, which is not technically white. This is skin color for lack of pigmentation. But who wants to be scientific about things? But you get these white supremacist Christian nationalists who attack scientists for being scientific and being called racist instead. The funniest is how the Book of Mormon condemns both Christianity and Darwin. And yet, Darwin, by coming out with his crap, panicked Christians. So they've been clashing. And so Darwin is considered the villain of science, and Christians are the villains of incorrectly understanding the Bible. It's supposed to be Jewish. Nonetheless, Christians love to play with, or scientists love to play with Christians concerning certain stories in the Bible, such as the Noah's Ark story. As they say, well, the dimensions are set, you yourself have set them, and yet there are on the earth so many different species, and so to have just 2, or is it 7, that go on to this space, it would be impossible. And then Christians panic and, well, God makes a way. They're not getting it. They don't care what science says. And if you don't listen to science, you get punked as a Christian. Scientists, because of the theory of evolution of Darwin's crap, claim that it's kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species for the categorization, for the evolutionary process. So when they say species, they're talking about the very end, where the family group is what the Bible is talking about, that Christians don't give a damn about, because they don't care about science. Plus, they don't understand that it wasn't until the Babylonians that they began to realize how to breed the pure white master race of sheep. Just hilarious. Hey, if we can keep going, I can post this tomorrow instead of tonight. So I'll have something to do rather than goof off. Well, this is done. Let's get this taken care of first. Yes. Alrighty. So that's the Great Replacement Theory, and how it's stupid, because they didn't run the test and they didn't present all of the evidence necessary for the reasoning as to what was going on. And again, this is why nobody can figure out who shot Charlie Kirk. You know, it's the same thing back in the 80s. I was watching another show that evening on another channel where all my other peers were watching JR and Who Shot JR. Nobody could figure it out. They had to wait until the next season. Oh, crap. So, you know, nobody knows how to investigate, despite all the investigation shows that are out there. Nobody knows how to do it. Ooh. See, I'm in a transition. I need to find something else to watch now. And Rosolian Isles just popped into my head, but also Dana Delaney, her forensic investigation show, even though I saw them not too long ago. You know, D. Todd Christofferson's supposed to be able to investigate and understand why I do the posts that I do. And I'm trying to help him, and he still can't figure it out. Dana Delaney's Forensic Investigation Show. Body of Proof. Yeah. Oh, baby. And he will never understand what's so fascinating about that show. Because he doesn't know me. He doesn't know how to investigate, despite the Nixon hearings. So, what's going on right now with the banning of books, the banning of the press, the banning of late night comedy, the banning of everybody, to assist you in this time, not only going over the Book of Mormon, but I also highly recommend, as much as these are tough to watch, 1984. You can also read the book, but you probably are still traumatized by the church's abuse and scaring you away from the R-rated God. Nonetheless, there's Fahrenheit 451. Both versions are fairly mild, but they're still tough to watch. I still prefer the 60s version, even though Amazon's reboot was very well done. And then, obviously, The Diary of Anne Frank. I don't know if it's a movie, but you should be able to get the book online, because I think I got it. Yeah, 1959 film, Diary of Anne Frank. The book by Albert Hackett and Francis Goodrich as a play, but it has been banned. Frank movie. Full movie. YouTube has it. You have to pay $3.79. Amazon has it. You have to pay $3.79. So yeah, there it is on Movie Central. There it is also on Encourage TV, which this is a different version. Maybe. It's unclear. The Movie Central is only an hour and 40 minutes. The Encourage TV is 205 minutes, 2 hours and 5 minutes. There's a link to Prime Video. And then there's Anne Frank, the whole story, which is 3 hours and 2 minutes and 45 seconds. German Jewish teen hides with her family and others in the attic of an Amsterdam office building during the Holocaust. So, well, tech treats should be of fair access, fair use availability. Yep, sure is. So, the book, PDF, a lot of places to purchase it. Weebly, here's Internet Archive, full text of Anne Frank, The Diary of a Young Girl. And there's another version of it. See other formats. So yeah, it's not a borrow book. There's a PDF version. I'm still recording, right? Yeah. And so just in case I don't have it, alright, when we get this too. This is all legal. All fair use access. All freely available. I don't have to pay. So, do highly recommend that. And highly recommend Star Wars, obviously. Anybody notice that in the pictures for the 19th? The star dates and clock times that I gave you the things on the earth for. V also, because both of these are invasion stories of a Nazi-like takeover, and both refer to that concept, even though Star Wars is a little bit harder to tell. You know, white supremacist Christian nationalists got fooled by Star Wars being Jewish. Even for Mormons. Yeah, the Force is the Spirit. Anakin is Jesus. So, sad news. There's a high suicide rate in Utah. And if you didn't know and understand, there's an extremist amount of psychologists that call themselves by different names. In Utah alone, there's a record number of dominance of treatment center asylums in the state of Utah for children and adults. And as I reported not too long ago, they've now got one for infants and toddlers. And so with the Charlie Kirk assassination, I also warned you of their threats to further victimize those who were in attendance of the shooting. And yet, despite this extremist amount of pushing for psychology, therapy, help, overcoming our problems and staying active in the church, there is an exceedingly high number of Utah suicides. And that is tragic because we're so close to the end of all this. To get you guys to Zion, to save your lives. And it's just tragic, all of the casualties because of this church. It's murdering you. And you have no clue of what they're doing to murder you. That all of this is because of the church. And the news didn't even know and understand. They just report the stats that there's a high Utah suicide rate, and they forgot that Utah has the suicide hotline and psychos galore, and yet people are committing suicide at higher rates with the higher rates of psychos. And you can't figure out that the problem is the psychos? God, just sickening. Nobody can investigate. Nobody knows how to do it. It's just sad. Get rid of the psychos. Teach Mormons how to read and understand the Book of Mormon that condemns psychology. Just unbelievable. Just sickening. So, and again, nobody's understanding Trump. Nobody understands, because the white supremacist Christian nationalist pattern of practice with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And despite being repeated cyclically in a pattern of practice. And so after Charlie Kirk's assassination, now all of a sudden they want to overdose on security. So down in Phoenix, yeah, overdose. And sure enough, they caught a guy that had a gun. There's no way of knowing if he was going to go there and shoot people. They have guns in Arizona, don't they? Isn't it legal? It's Mormon country. Nonetheless, you know, they're extremists now on security, on purpose. And it always pisses me off that this happens, because nobody seems to get this pattern. The enemy always strikes, then they lay low and watch everybody panic and go to the extremes. You got the one side that says we need to overdose on security, and the other side that says we need to, you know, surrender and give up our guns. Nobody can just say, hey, Charlie Kirk's security sucked. They failed. We need to fire some people at the university. Nonetheless. And so, yes, they lay low to let it be the new normal. Everybody calms down, and then they go resume their normal way of life. And so during this time, they're lying in wait, they're scheming and plotting their next strike, and then boom, when everybody had let down their guard again. And cyclically, over and over again. This is a pre-war tactic. War strategy is not a good idea. Especially when the enemy that you're trying to conquer goes to the extreme and over security. Because now you've lost your opportunity there with your strike. In actual war, you need to strike and then blitzkrieg in. Take your example from Israel. They know how to do it. And so, as I've been warning you that the church set you up, we are now seeing other news stories popping up. In Mississippi, a Mormon church was vandalized and burned, all because of Charlie Kirk. People know to blame Mormons, regardless of the attempt to cover it up and hide it and frame and blame a Mormon. The rest of the world does not see it that way. I warned you of this. Everybody is blaming Mormons. This is how they think. It's been that way. You know this. You know, is Freemasonry good or evil? Exactly. Wrong answers all. You got to look at the individual Freemasonry at the specific time that you're referring to. And I've been trying to warn you about pre-9/11/1826. It was a different Freemasonry back then, and there was an enemy that infiltrated the Scottish rites, and the Book of Mormon is warning you of them. You're not listening. So anybody catch that picture that I threw in the video? Was it this morning? Or was it last night that I posted this morning? No, I didn't do a video last night to post this morning, so it was this morning. Yeah, Joseph Smith's second vision. The Knights Templar symbol. Do you know what it says? You can Google search it in Latin to get the translation in English. It will tell you somewhat correctly. Did you do it? Did you know why? Did you see the Holy Grail on the table there? Or did you get angry and upset that it was my head on Moroni's? Try Nephi. See, the pictures are also designed to teach you, not just use satire as like a comic strip. But if D. Todd Christofferson was doing his research on me correctly, he would know why I'm into comic strips, as I've been doing the videos to explain it to you. About in the Riverside writing contest that I went to for my Alcatraz report, and pickle comics that ensued, or Mason and his triple SGK. And Mr. Swigheimer, took a comics course as well from him. You gotta know me if I'm your enemy. It's in the art of war. Know thy enemy. And D. Todd doesn't, and I know him. Oops. So yeah, that was a day or two ago when I did that, where where I showed the old thumbnail picture that YouTube attacked under orders of D. Todd. They caused the Microsoft attack and the Google attack, and I then posted the pictures. And because of what they did, it then exposed them, got them busted. Evil never learns. They're stupid. They think that they've got the upper hand and they dominate, and no match for a real intelligence. So yeah, I just want to get to Zion. I don't want to be playing these games. They're going to murder Trump and get away with it, and we're all doomed. Trump's not listening.